Okay, Mom.
What?
Have you ever heard of the Supreme Court case Bethel versus Frazier?
No.
Okay, so this occurred in the Bethel School District, which is in Pierce County in Washington State.
Uh-huh.
And in 1983, the beginning of the school year in April, they were doing student body elections and stuff. And for the senior class, Matthew Frazier was nominating his fellow student Jeff Coleman
Mm-hmm.
for basically student body vice president.
Mm-hmm.
And to do this, he had to give a speech in front of the school talking about why he,
Was gonna not-
why should he be vice
Right.
president.
This is in a high school in
high school.
Washington State in
Washington
1983.
83
Uh-huh.
is when it happened. And when the speech that he gave,
Mm-hmm.
another thing is that later after this happened, Matthew said that he wrote the whole speech an hour before the assembly.
Mm-hmm.
So this was all short notice.
Mm-hmm.
And the speech was filled with sexual innuendos.
Yeah.
So, but no cuss words, no
Mhm.
obscenities,
Uh-huh.
just implications that were sexual in nature.
Yeah.
And he gave the speech, which I'll read here shortly.
Uh-huh.
And the school suspended him for it for
Uh-huh.
3 days.
Uh-huh.
And then, of course, doing that in front of the whole student body, he became a legend in the
Mhm.
school.
Oh, I bet.
And after that, he was nominated to speak during graduation.
Yeah?
And the school wouldn't let him.
Oh.
They said no. And then after that, after the graduation fiasco, I do believe they sued the school for violation of freedom of speech.
Uh-huh.
And so I'll read the speech here.
And this case went to the Supreme Court?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll read the speech here
Uh-huh.
that got him in trouble. So the speech is as follows. I know a man who is rock hard. He's firm in his pants. He's firm in his shirt. His character is firm. But most of all, his belief in you, the students of Bethel, is firm. Jeff Coleman is a man who takes his point and he pounds it in. And if necessary, he'll take an issue and nail it to the wall. He doesn't attack things in spurts. He drives hard, pushing and pushing until finally he succeeds. Jeff is a man who'll go to the very end, even the climax, for each and every one of you. So please vote for Jeff Coleman, as he'll never come between us and the best of our school kids. And so that was a speech that got him in trouble.
Uh-huh.
And
He got suspended for that.
He got suspended for that.
And then they nominated him to do something at the graduation.
He's suspended from school, so like OSS for 3 days, but he came back after 2 days. And was prohibited from speaking at the graduation ceremony, even though they voted him in.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is a very good case study
Mm-hmm.
on the Supreme Court and how much power it has.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as I said earlier, his family, because he was a minor, so
Mm-hmm.
he didn't. His family and the the American Civil Liberties Union sued the school, and again for violation of First Amendment freedom of speech. And it got to the United States District Court, and for the district in
Mhm.
Seattle, and they ruled in favor of Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
The school then appealed the court to the U.S. Ninth Circuit courts,
Mm-hmm.
which is, there's I think 12 in the United States in their section now, the
Mhm.
region. And that court case, they ruled again for Frazier.
Mm-hmm.
And then the school asked the Supreme Court to look at it, and they did. And the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the school. So the first two cases, the school lost. And then the last Supreme Court, they said, no, those other two court cases were invalid.
Uh-huh.
And the school is right in suspending him.
Oh.
So, I can.
Molly.
So, as a matter of fact, the Supreme Court ruled 7-2 in favor of the school. So, a pretty big majority for the school too.
Well,
The
how
school's
could
in the
two
right.
other courts get it so wrong?
that's the thing. I don't really know. I mean, it's just one of those things where, I don't know.
You haven't looked at the.
I haven't read
looked the arguments.
The arguments from the district and circuit courts,
Mm-hmm.
but it kind of just rolls back into the supremacy clause that whatever. Well, basically, again, whatever the Supreme Court says, it's like amendments. So an amendment can only be overturned by another amendment. There's no other way an amendment can be struck down besides another amendment. Supreme Court cases are the same way. The only way a Supreme Court case can, well, I guess also by an amendment, but I digress, is by another Supreme Court case. That's the only way you can overturn a Supreme Court case is with another one that says no.
I see.
And so this effectively, in a way, was a major blow to the Tinker precedent, which is 1969. Tinker versus Des Moines, which established a very firm freedom of speech for students. But in this case, the school, they ruled that the school has a right to limit freedom of speech of students in school if it is deemed as vulgar and obscene, which is, I guess, subjective. It depends on who you ask. So
exactly.
It's one of those things where it's very vague and schools can kind of get around.
Well, I'll tell you my favorite part of the story is that speech right there was read to a Supreme Court of a bunch of duddy-fuddies.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I would have liked to be...
I bet I could probably find you.
Because that's pretty good and creative. I just don't know why more kids don't do that, because that seems hilarious to me.
Yeah, and this was, again, I didn't say this, so this was read in front of the entire school, teachers, students, everybody, principal.
And he written it like
an hour before the assembly. So, and another fun fact is that now Matthew Frazier is the head of the Stanford debate department.
Really?
Debate club thing, yeah. At
That's
Stanford
really
University.
cool.
Yep.
Well, thank you for that little lesson.